Hello, this is Brendan Bingham. This is assignment 7.2 final video part 3. I'm just showing the screen here so that I can show that I'm just starting the quiz. Go ahead and hide that so you can see me. Maybe. There we go. Okay. Okay, so first we're going to talk about the core components of a virtual machine and how to use it in a business setting. So a virtual machine is essentially a virtual computer that is run in one of two ways. There's type 1 and type 2. Type 1 uses a hypervisor. They both use hypervisors. It's basically the system that it uses to create the virtual machine. Type 1 hypervisor is a bare metal, is what they call it. It basically uses the resources from a specific computer, and it utilizes the RAM, the CPU. It utilizes all the actual hardware from the computer to run the virtual machine. Whereas the Type 2 hypervisor utilizes its own virtual versions of its own, storage and RAM capacity and all things like that. To utilize it in a business setting, there's a lot of really cool ways that you can actually utilize a virtual machine. I think a really important one is for increased security and authentication. You can create basically a whole network of virtual machines and make it so that they all connect and work together and have users and password policies and all those other different things that help you keep it more secure so that nobody that doesn't need to have access to it will have access to it. It keeps it only the people that need to use that network will be able to use it. Um, Server roles and features are critical for defining a server's functionality. Describe the difference between a server role and a server feature. How do you determine which roles and features a server needs? There's a couple different things. A server role, there's a few different roles like administrators, users, guests, things like that. They basically all come with different levels of authority within the server, I guess. An admin is going to be granted a lot more access to changing group policies and setting up restrictions and who has access to what, things like that. Users are only going to be able to receive the benefits. They're only going to be able to receive the actions and do things that the admin allows. And guests are going to be super restricted. They're going to have like minimal access to everything that's on there. Different features that you have are, like I talked about before, there's group policies, there's folders, there's files, there's all sorts of different things that you can do on a server, but you have to be given access to do those certain things. If you want to access a certain folder or a certain application, you have to be given that permission from the administrator. Domains are a fundamental component of a company's infrastructure. Explain the primary purpose of Active Directory and how it facilitates user and resource management within a domain. Active Directory is basically the process of going through and creating groups and assigning security levels and whatnot. You can create, I'm trying to think of the word. You can create a user that fits within a group underneath a tree, basically. So there's kind of lined out in stacks. Each one is a different tree. Each tree has its subtrees and however in depth you want it to go. But the Active Directory allows you to go in and change those policies and actually allows the administrators to access those policies and change rules, change permissions, and choose exactly how strict or not strict a server is going to be depending on what the user's permissions are. An example of a common task you can use a common task that you can perform using Active Directory. The one that I think is the easiest to explain is setting up password requirements. So you can create a tree that has all of the users in the whole network, including the administrators, and you can set a policy that allows you to you can set the password and give that to them to log in and require them to change said password when they log in the first time, and then you can also require them to change that every 6 months, every year, every 3 months, however often you decide to do it. And that is my explanation of 7.2.